started playing music when I was a teenager. I never was really a person that people looked at, for anything other than, music when I first started doing it. I essentially started playing it as a way to get recognized by people, because I was always a real shy kid, always to myself, had a lot of anxiety, a lot of, social anxiety. And I used it as a way to kind of get that stuff out because I didn't really have a way to communicate it out otherwise. And in doing so, I used to play a lot of rock guitar and stuff like that, and people liked it, and it made them interested in me as a person, or so I thought. And it was kind of a way for me to connect with people in a way that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to. And it's really changed my life for the better in a lot of ways, and it's just, I couldn't imagine being here today not playing music. I couldn't imagine what else I could be doing except what I'm doing right now.
I got friends up in New York City. I got some in New Orleans. Got memories that mean the world. Some don't mean anything. What's upon of me, love and you don't feel the same. I'd take it all back if I could. Just don't work that way. No more one last chances and try make it right. The two of us are more wrong than right. I could have always went for another, not right. With you right here by my side. I've been trying hard to change myself. I don't put the blame on no one else. Then I met a girl like you, and it's a goddamn shame it was too good to be true. No more one last chances and try to make it right. You know that two wrongs don't make a right. I could have always went for some loving tonight. With you right here by my side. Yes, I see the lines in the sand. Separates me from what it means to be a real man. A lot of things that I don't understand. But I'll keep on keeping on the best that I can. No more one last chance. Yeah, I'm trying to make it right. You know the two of us, honest, more wrongs than right. I could have always went for another. I love you comes to you. Yeah, when it comes to you.
I wrote When It Comes to You a little while back there. It's been a minute. It was probably one of my first really songs I really liked playing, and I really developed it fast. And I essentially wrote it about, the namesake When It Comes to You. It's essentially about somebody or multiple people. I applied it to multiple people. It wasn't really about one person. I wrote the song about a lot of people that can essentially do wrong. It's almost about like personal bias, essentially. That's what it's about. It's about somebody can do wrong to others or to you, but if you're biased in their favor, it's hard to see the truth, of what's really going on. And it's kind of like, it takes a similar theme of, love is blind, and it can make you blind in a way that perhaps, you wouldn't be had you had not had those pre-made emotions toward that particular person. So that's kind of what that song was about.
Hold on, just wait a minute. Have to try so hard just to be different. You know me and I know you. Nothing between us would be anything new. Yes, I'm sorry I took so long. Had a couple things I had to pull along. And I know that I'm on your mind, same way that you're on mine. Gonna take a little time and some more getting used to. But if you just take your time, you won't miss it by mine. I'm sorry it's come down to this. All the things of us that I'm gonna miss. Lord knows that I've always tried to do the best with you by my side. And I know it's gonna be long. Everything turned out just wrong. Done me good to see you smile, if only for a little while. Wanna take a little time to grow, and some more getting used to. But if you just take your time, you won't miss it by mine. You won't. Gonna take a little time and some more getting used to. But if you just take your time, you won't miss it by mine.
Missing My Miles is a pretty recent creation that come to be out of, it was really more of a, I guess like a part song. It was made out of a couple of different pieces I had accumulated over a couple of months. And I started out with a kind of a really alternative kind of approach to playing a set of chords. And I essentially put the lyrics over it for, I guess in the sense that like, you know, you have like a lot of songs, I guess, out, you know, and the name of it essentially comes from an old thing I used to hear my dad say all the time about somebody who had made an error in judgment. You know, he'd say, oh, he missed it by a mile. You know, he didn't even come close, but he tried, you know, but he missed it by a mile. And that really was what put the song together once I had the title. And essentially the song is about, you know, taking your time and being patient and making sure that, you know, it's like the old, it takes from the old lesson, you know, measure twice, cut once. You know, that's kind of the theme of that song.
Behind best slate and wood, teaching us things that he never understood. He come in and dressed to class, and I was staring out the window waiting for the day to pass. I guess Bill's a man of science, how it all worked somehow in his mind. From the wisdom he gained and the love in his heart kept the old man sane. Didn't have time to speak in riddles, had him plenty enough time left to fiddle. Nothing but hope and a dream in the sky, pushing like hell just to try to make it by. In a place where the strong hardly survive. Who'd have thought in this life of mine, let alone a fool like me, that a man of science could justify. Behind bare slate and wood, teaching us things that we never understood. He fill up his coffee glass, just like the memories I got in my past. And I never once knew all the things I do. And oftentimes I remember days, Mr. Man of Science.
Okay, Man of Science was a song I wrote a good minute ago. I wrote it about a teacher that I had in school named Bill Taylor. And Bill was, you know, amongst in this school environment, you know, everybody being professional and somebody like me who was, you know, a heathen, you know how teenagers are, you know,
too.
yeah, you know, that kind of stuff. And absolutely didn't think nothing about tomorrow, living, you know, in the moment, could care less about future stuff. And, you know, an environment who everybody essentially had their life together, you know, especially from the viewpoint of, you know, a heathen. Bill was always a very human person. You know, he had a lot of life experiences that were because of mistakes, and he had a very interesting road, and he was very expressive about it. He talked about all the different jobs he had that led up to where he was in that day, and he was very, very open about his flaws, and I really admired that in a person of his stature, you know. Because it took it down from, like, you know, you see somebody who has as many, you know, doctorates and degrees as he had, You know, and this guy was talking about really, having his share of, I guess, fuck ups. You know, and that was really inspiring because it was kind of giving me the feeling of like, regardless of how bad you mess up, as long as you're alive, you can always make it better. You know, and that was a really good lesson. And one day I was thinking about some of that stuff, all the stories he would tell us.
Like putting a car in a tree?
All that kind of stuff. And I was just like, I'm going to write a song about Bill. And he was a science teacher. I had him for 2 years, so I called it The Man of Science. So that's how that one come to be. Yeah.
Yes, I learned a lot about living from a Playboy magazine. They turned me on Silverstein. Always felt like I didn't belong. Always been told I was living wrong. Felt like my path would never begin with the sidewalk ends. Yes, my heart tells me maybe I should head east, and with a little luck I could find my missing piece. Always been told I was in the wrong. Always spent my time writing sad love songs. Never got the words right, it seems. Oh, it seems. Always been told I was in the wrong. Always felt like I never belonged. Felt like I lost my only friend with the sidewalk ends. Yes, I learned a lot about living from a Playboy magazine, and they turned me on to Shel Silverstein. Always felt like I was in the wrong. Always been told that I never belonged. Felt like my path would never begin where the sidewalk ends.
On the, you guys will see it on the video, but when I'm doing Shel, the guitar that I'm playing in that is signed by my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather passed away a couple of years ago, and as of recent, my grandmother passed away within the last month or so. And they always were very, 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 encouraging for me, especially in those delicate years about playing music. And regardless of what kind of a yelp I was putting out, they always would encourage me that I sounded great, even when I didn't. Shel is about
a very important bald man.
Very important bald man. Being that of Shel Silverstein. And I was really into a lot of Dr. Hook stuff, and I started collecting vinyl, and I started noticing a lot of the Dr. Hook stuff I was really into was written by this same guy named Shel Silverstein. So I started digging into Shel a couple of years ago. Then I'm starting to connect that this guy not only wrote these really great adult, oriented songs for, Dr. Hook, and he released himself, but he also was notable for writing children's books. A lot of them that I was really familiar with and didn't really put those two things together, like The Giving Tree and all that stuff that you read as a kid, And not only that, but the line, first time the song was kind of something to throw people off of it. was, I learned a lot from them old Playboy magazines. And the reason I put that in there is because at his early parts of his career, Shell used to write articles for Playboy magazine while he was, releasing these children's books at the same time, which I thought was really funny. And I was like, that's basically like the real life most interesting man, alive is him, because who else could do that in today's time and not face great,
Wasn't he in the war or something?
Yeah,
too?
mostly, yeah.
I thought he was a Korean War or World War II veteran.
Yeah, man, like the dude legit done everything. And he lived on a houseboat, man. He used to have parties there and stuff, and that's just great. Who else, man? But
I remember you pitching that song to me in that brown van going down the road.
Yeah,
I think it was Two Broken Throne of all places.
Yeah, man.
So
it's just like, all right, I'll put this out for Shell.
It's one of my favorite ones still. So.
I tried my best to find the words to say. Full of feeling in your soul that keeps driving you away. Perspective of emotion in your eyes. Deeper than every lyric I could hope to lyricize. If I could only change the colors of your past, for the changes that always come to pass. I've seen hearts I'd never ever meant. I just wish I had a better message I could send. Nicole, I've written songs with much lesser things to say. People and places that stood to stand in my way. And the cold, I'm sorry I could only right but one of the wrongs. The right way to say I love you is a song. If I could only change the colors of your past, free you for the changes that always come to pass, you'd be free to come right along. Leave behind the memories of a man that did you wrong. Nicole, there's a lot of things that we both may never know. But some things we keep, Nicole, and some things we let go.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So, Nicole is a song that come to me, kind of you could say as an impulse, and a great impulse. And
a very good impulse.
And
I loved it.
I was essentially like, I've recently been living life in different ways, and a lot of feelings and a lot of changes have come to my life. I lost my grandmother and a lot of really big changes have hit me recently. I've been going through a lot of mental changes and a lot of mental health, waves and stuff, and some other things that have been going on with some other people that have come into my life. And I decided, a question was put on me about someone had a song been made for them. And there's not really a lot of things you can fix about your mental health or another person's mental health, except for really be there to support them. And that song really is about, reaching out to people that care about you and want to help you, regardless of how hard life may seem. Because I feel like, when I started this whole music thing, this whole songwriter deal, I always felt like, everybody has a problem, because I've not had the best mental health my entire life, and I've always felt like that if I could go on stage and I can make somebody smile, or I can make somebody forget about what's really bothering them, what's really got them down, I owe that to the world to be able to do that, because if I can do that for somebody, because I've had other musicians do that same thing for me, and if I can do that, pass that on and do that for somebody, in that moment, I'm one of the happiest people who walked on the stage. And I wrote the song for and about a very special friend of mine. And I wrote it 5 days ago prior to this recording. So let it rip.